Please make sure to subscribe. I hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I was just on X and I saw that there was a blackout in Paris, which is really interesting. My understanding is that it's still being investigated, but it's a really interesting thing to happen after those awful, horrific opening ceremonies that is upsetting a lot of people. I know it upset virtually all of you. I can't believe that decision was made, but I can believe it at the same time. And I'm just going to give it a couple minutes for people to join the chat. But if you're here, let me know where you're from. What did you think about the opening ceremonies? There's some interesting things going on already with these Olympics, just within these first couple days. Carrie Cottrell is here. Hello. From Idaho Falls. I see that there's another person in here. Let me know who you are, where you're from, what you guys thought about the opening ceremonies. Lady Wave, hello. Yeah, so, hey, from Charlotte, North Carolina, that's Ian Johnson. Stan Blameless, hi Jared. Amazon Warrior, hello Utah. And then we got a bunch coming in. Okay, we got 57. That's quicker than I thought. Gwillo, hi, I'm from Hurricane, Utah. Top G Mindset Coach, howdy brother. Kennesaw, Georgia. So have you guys heard about the blackout that's going on right now in Paris? Right before I hopped on, I saw that they're starting to get some of the power back on, but there was a big blackout in Paris. Which is really interesting because those opening ceremonies were just terrible. I did my video about it, covering the trans and drag queen, displays. Of course, there was the mockery of the Last Supper. That was like the worst part. There was like the Marie Antoinette thing and the blood and the horror that was completely unnecessary and just despicable. There was the heavy metal band. So that's what I covered, but after that I saw that they did more stuff with like a person riding a horse that kind of brought the imagery of like the Book of Revelation and the horsemen, and there was like the golden bull head. So it was just awful. Now what I didn't know until after I made that video is that there was rain. There was like heavy rain going on during the opening ceremonies, which is very fitting because you may or may not know, just depending on how long you've been watching my channel, I'm keeping a spreadsheet to track church-specific signs. And I have a number of them color-coded in blue where the rain stopped for something that we were doing. So for example, just off the top of my head, there was the dedication of the Independence Visitor Center. It was a stormy day, but the rain stopped and there was relative calm while the dedication was going on, and as soon as it finished, the rain began again. President Nelson, there's been a few times during his presidency that he's gone to some event, like the groundbreaking ceremony for the Ephraim, Utah temple, where the rain paused so that he could do that, and then it resumed once he was done. It also happened for him when he went to Samoa and also Seattle. And he pointed out that it was because of the faith of the saints that the rain was halted. So I think I have something like 5 different church-specific signs like that have to do with the rain stopping. And now here we have this just absolute mockery of Christ and Christianity. And there was heavy rain, and then right now, as we speak, there's this blackout in Paris. I saw one post saying that it could be sabotage, but I didn't see any news reports stating that, so I just wanted to call that to your attention. We have heavy rain the day of the ceremonies, and then like the next day there's this blackout. So it's off to a really rocky start. I've seen that there's been just a lot of backlash to these opening ceremonies. And rightfully so. It's making a lot of people upset. And like the more I think about it, the more upset I get. I can't believe it. Me and Jenica were talking about it. We went for a drive. And I've had this like lingering question in my mind. You know, how much does Satan know? Like when it comes to the timing of the second coming. You know, we know that he knows that his time is short. But does he know any better than we do just how close it is? Like, and I'm not sure, but he might. I'm interested in his tactics because I don't know that he can go full blast all the time, like throughout all history. I think it's kind of like a game. Like he has to be kind of strategic in his moves. We've heard, you know, in recent years that evil's not even trying to hide at this point, which suggests that before it did, they did have to be more strategic in their evil. But as we get toward the end, I just wonder if he's kind of like, okay, like it has, you know, maybe in his mind it has to be this year, so this is the final thing, blah, you know, the Olympics, blah, you know, because once the millennium comes, he is going to be bound. So I wonder if like maybe this is part of his grand finale. I guess we'll see. But the choice to do the Last Supper, compared to like other like stories from Christ, like that, it's like it's particularly insidious, I think, because we know in the church that's when the sacrament was instituted, was with the Last Supper. So you have this guy painted in blue, nearly naked, on the table where Christ first broke the bread and poured the wine to institute the sacrament, and you have this person there, and there was like some kind of symbolism behind it. Like I think he was supposed to symbolize some pagan god or something like that, having to do with wine, I think. I'll have to like look into that further. But you have like just like this blasphemous display of this blue, almost naked guy, where the sacrament would be, number one. Number two, it's a scene that has Christ in it. But then, number three, you have all the 12 apostles, which is really interesting to think about, because when the second coming happens and all the resurrected saints come, the 12 apostles are going to hold a special place because they're going to judge Israel. And based on my studies, that's something that happens during the millennium. I think specifically in the beginning of the millennium. And so if he really wanted to mock just everything all the way around, the Last Supper might be a good scene, like a good choice for him when it comes to mockery, because you have the sacrament, which essentially points to the atonement, and then you have Christ, and then you have the 12 apostles that are going to be here on earth when Christ comes again. So all we can do is just wait and see how things play out. It's really hard to imagine the world getting worse and more wicked, like openly, like doing these things that are typically family-friendly events, and for just like a general audience, it's hard to picture them like getting even worse than what we just saw. But that'll probably happen. We'll probably continue to see this kind of thing in like Super Bowl halftime shows and whatever. What other things are there? Just anytime that there's like some kind of like international or big audience, like some kind of like performance, it's probably just going to continue. But oh my gosh, that was so bad. That was so bad. To its channel, there might be a fire in Paris too. I hear from the Lord. Okay. Well, there is fire coming for the entire world. Oh my gosh. Maybe it'll start in Paris after what just happened. Deb Andrews, have any other Christian faiths come out with comments of being upset? Of them being upset? Yeah. Oh, I was watching today. What's his first name? There's that guy, Marshall. He has a big YouTube channel. He's a Catholic. I think it's David Marshall. Someone let me know. I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. I was watching him. I check in with him just every now and again, and he did a video about it, and of course he was upset. I saw like another video from a Catholic priest, or maybe he was no, I think it was a priest, maybe he was a bishop, and he did a video about how upset he was. Like, yeah, there's like everybody, you know. Even I saw a post from a Jewish person on X who's like, I'm a Jew, but like I'm totally disgusted and upset about what just happened. You know, he was feeling upset for us, for Christians. Jessica, hi from Wisconsin. Amazon Warrior, Pope came. I wonder what the Pope, if the Pope's going to say anything about it. Michelle Boehner, polarizing events. Sam Lee, the train system in Paris were recently attacked too. Yeah, I heard about that. Amazon Warrior says Pope came and condemned it. Skip that comment, but yes. Lisa Finch from North Logan, Utah. The stuff at the Olympics, gross and blasphemous. Yeah. Just, oh my gosh. I cannot believe how blatant it was. It really feels like a type of grand finale, or it feels like I've used this metaphor before. It's like when you're playing a game and you know that you're going to lose, or like it seems like you're starting to lose. You can get to that point where you just like flip the board out of anger, and it feels like maybe that's like what Satan did. That's what it felt like. Deb Andrews, good to know. Thanks, Jared. The Stylist Corner, I'm so glad I missed it. Yeah, I've heard a lot of that. A lot of people glad that they missed it and not going to watch the Olympics. And at this point, I'm not going to watch them. I saw some company. I'd have to go on my X account. I reposted it, so if you follow me on X, you can see it there. But there was some sponsor that pulled their sponsorship of the Olympics because of the opening ceremonies. So there's been backlash on that side. Chris Nick, the guy that saw the attempt to Trump and described it perfectly 3 months ago, said that he saw the Eiffel Tower in fire. I know why now. Alex Wallingford, I don't even bother with these big events anymore. Haven't since about 2008. Yeah, me neither. And that's what I said in my last video. I don't know if you saw that. I think we did watch the 2012 Olympics, but we haven't seen any others. I didn't watch the Rio ones. Captain Blueberry, yeah, that's right. Captain Blueberry Knight says C Spire did. So that's the company, C Spire, that pulled their sponsorship. Amazon Warrior says, I'm with you, Alex. Ben B from Kansas City, Missouri, boycotting Olympics. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's another thing that, again, I think his name is David Marshall, the Catholic guy. He has a big channel. He was calling on people to boycott the Olympics. BC, CV Mario, I felt bad about the rail system attacks and blamed the Russians due to them being banned because of the Ukraine invasion. After the opening ceremony, it is hard to feel bad anymore. Yep. Excuse me. eBay Dame, 180 watching and only 23 thumbs up. Thumbs up emoji. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, please do that, because it helps the live stream go further. You know, it's an algorithm thing. Amazon Warrior, I know your feelings about Ezra Feather, but it too close for comfort. I don't have much of an opinion about it. With Ezra's Eagle, I decided to try and do a couple videos about it and try and study it myself and, you know, see if I could come to the same conclusion, and I didn't. It doesn't mean that other people's interpretation is wrong, but we'll just have to see. The Stylist Corner, did you see that Salt Lake is getting the Olympics again? Not sure of the coming year. Yes, I did a video about that. And you should watch it because it was announced on Pioneer Day. And there were a couple other interesting things that happened on Pioneer Day. But it's going to be the 2034 Winter Olympics. And it's interesting that it happened on Pioneer Day because okay. So this is what happened. Okay, sorry, I had a little. Okay, so on that day, there was a fire that was going on behind Ensign Peak, right? And Ensign Peak is the peak that Brigham Young saw in vision while he was still in Nauvoo, so that he would recognize that was the place for the saints to settle. He saw an angel on top of Ensign Peak. The angel pointed down to where the Salt Lake Temple was supposed to be built. And in the location where the Salt Lake Temple was supposed to be built, he saw the Ark of the Covenant of the presence of the Lord, where the Salt Lake Temple was supposed to be. So you have this fire behind Ensign Peak, which is essentially like, it's called Ensign Peak because it's supposed to be like an ensign to the world, like a beacon, right? To bring people, like, it's like church headquarters and bringing people into the church. And so with the Olympics coming back to Utah, it's a big missionary opportunity. In that video, I read what President Hinckley said after the 2002 Winter Olympics and how there were so many people that came to Utah and they visited all the different church sites, and there was a lot of missionary work that was done. And so this next time, if the second coming hasn't happened by then, it's probably going to be an even bigger missionary experience. You're going to have the renovated Temple Square, well, both blocks, and then the renovated Salt Lake Temple and the new visitor centers and stuff like that. So for that to be announced on Pioneer Day, another time when the whole world is going to come to Utah, and there's a fire behind Ensign Peak, that's really, really interesting. Okay. Let me get back to the comments here. Ryan Baxter, rain throughout opening ceremony, symbolic of God's weeping. Moses 7:28. Yeah, I agree with that. Krisnick, thumbs up, thumbs up. Eve Dame, heart, up to 59 thumbs up. Whoop. 197 in chat. Alex Wallingford, the sad part of it is that it is not even surprising anymore. I feel so unsurprised by major world events as well as blatant displays of blasphemy. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think we're getting desensitized to both wickedness as well as just signs of the times in general. There's that scripture, I think it's in 3rd Nephi chapter 8, where it talks about how specifically like how the Nephites became desensitized. They became less and less astonished at a sign or a wonder, even though they had so many signs and wonders in the heavens. They just got to a point where they were they were not surprised by anything anymore. And I feel like that's the point that we're getting to. There's just been so much craziness in nature and in society. Don't do that. Oh. And everything else that, you know, if we get to this point where we're just like fully desensitized, then maybe that's the time when everything is ripe and ready to go, and we're ready to have Christ come and cleanse the earth. You know, the point of a sign is to send you a message from God. He's trying to tell you something, and so if the world as a whole is no longer really responding to signs, then there's no more getting through. And there's already been all this preaching of the gospel for the last 200 years. So, you know, but there have been so many signs. I still can't get over the aurora. That was a really big sign. There was a gigantic coronal hole that you could see with the naked eye if you had eclipse glasses. It shot off 7 CMEs, or coronal mass ejections, 7, and that's what caused the aurora to be seen all throughout the United States and a lot of the northern hemisphere. It was crazy. It flooded social media, and I feel like a lot of us have forgotten just how crazy that was, and I think it was really significant. In a year that we get the Kirtland Temple back, in the month after we get the Kirtland Temple back, there's the path of totality of the April 8th eclipse that goes over the Kirtland Temple, and then this tornado outbreak, and then the Trump assassination attempt, and all these other things. This is a crazy year, and it's been a crazy month. The fire behind Ensign Peak on Pioneer Day. Oh, by the way, it wasn't just any Pioneer Day. It was the 177th Pioneer Day, or anniversary from the time that the Saints entered the valley. 177. This is the year that President Nelson turns 100 years old. We're just living in bizarro world right now, as far as I'm concerned. And I feel like this year is just as crazy as 2020. Even though we don't have a big thing like the pandemic, and maybe I'm speaking too soon, who knows what's going to happen the rest of the year. But there's just been so many things. And so this whole thing with the Olympics, it's not a surprise. This opening ceremony has got to be among the worst that have ever been. I'm pretty sure it probably is in the number 1 spot for depravity and just evil. My gosh. Alex Wallingford, my spirit is tired, but I'll press on. Yeah, you're not alone. You're not alone. All of us, we're all sick of it. There was that in my video that I did, that first video about the Olympics, there was an account called Sick of It. That was the name of their account. Brad, Hardesty, Bizarro World True. I think it's worse than pandemic here. I can't even picture what things will be like in a month, let alone next year. Yeah. Eva Nielsen, meaning of being a peculiar people, quote unquote, is becoming more clear every day. Yep. So what's going to happen the rest of the year? I can't even. I stick with my original prediction that things are just going to get even more crazy the further we progress into this year. Just because of the fact that we have the elections coming up, so there's going to be crazy things going on. Mormon Bear, not looking forward to the tribulation, but can't wait for what comes after. I think we're already in tribulation. I'm assuming that you're referring to this idea of a 7-year tribulation period. That's not something that I don't think that's really our doctrine in the church. I think it's a evangelical idea primarily, but whatever the case, there's already tribulation going on for sure. Patsy Reinhardt, in this month is not even over yet. Yeah, I know. Just in case you haven't seen it, I did the live stream where I covered everything that's happened the first half of the year. I did that in June. And then I was like, I'll bet that the second half of the year is going to be even crazier. And here we are in the first month of the second half of the year, and all this has happened, and July is not even over yet. Alex Wallingford, in better news, my local temple here in Ephraim, Utah now has its capstone domes in place. Oh, cool. Congratulations on that. That's great. Here in Wichita, we finally got the rendering of what the temple's going to look like. And the groundbreaking ceremony is going to be on September 7th. So I've been waiting a while to see what the temple is going to look like, but we just got that within the last couple days. Jessica, I kept waiting for you to do a video about Biden stepping out of the race. I think Heavenly Father told him to. Yeah, that's just another crazy thing. These elections are just going to end up being crazy. They already are with the assassination attempt. Oh, that's right. Debbie Porter says his name is Dr. Taylor Marshall. I was saying David Marshall. Taylor Marshall. Oh, let's see. Brad Hardesty, congrats on Ephraim Temple. I loved going to Snow as a music major back in 1980. RJ Hallberg, Ezra's Eagle needs to be revisited. It appears to be unfolding right now. Lisa Alvarez, please tell us why you want to move. What happened? Thanks. We just were feeling inspired. That's it. There were like some personal things, but we just, you're talking about how we want to move to Missouri. We were just feeling the call, but it's probably not going to happen for like a year, maybe more. We have to replace our septic, and it's pretty expensive. So once we get the financing to do that, then hopefully we'll be able to move. Michael Law, the world going so crazy, more and more of the righteous will gather to the peculiar people, quote unquote, as the world gets more grotesque. Middle ground keeps disappearing. Yep. Rainey from Memphis, Tennessee. Awful. God will not be mocked.
That's so awful.
Brad Hardesty, I'm glad I've had you in my Mormon mix. You're in my top 5 with channels like Quick Media. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that I made the cut. Caitlin's here from Anticipating Christ's Return. You may want to add her to your top 5 or top 6. Everyone make sure to subscribe to Anticipating Christ's Return. She's one of the ones that started a YouTube channel. It's a Second Coming channel, and she has really good content. She said, hey, I just saw you on. Pamela McGregor, thank you for your post. You bring clarity and peace. I appreciate your work and time. Thank you, Pamela. It does take a lot of time. YouTube is the craziest video game I've ever played. The hardest one, too. Al Tarf, why Missouri? Because of New Jerusalem and being near the church sites, and just feel called to there. I don't know how long you've been watching the channel, but over the last 6 to 9 months, we've done all these trips to the different church sites and just felt a really strong spirit. And so just that idea kind of got planted in our minds. And then we just had some special experiences where we felt like we should move there. So Terry Hall, our Bakersfield temple is being held up because the people who live in the community behind the temple do not want the spire to be 124 feet high. Zoning laws say only 60 feet, so we're just waiting. Well, maybe it'll end up looking like the Paris temple. That's a temple that I think was originally going to have a spire, but then I think it had an issue like that, so now it's just like a square, building. The Stylist Corner, I wish I knew what was coming in the future. Like you know, you will be moving in the near future. Oh, okay, okay. The Lord has not made anything known for me for the future. Sad face. Well, just hang in there. Just, focus on the here and now. Like, I want to move as soon as possible, but like we've had this hiccup. We thought that we'd be able to get a home equity loan to pay for the septic, but we're going to have to pay down debt more before we can qualify for that loan. So in the meantime, I'm just going to enjoy Kansas and enjoy where we live until we go. We live in a great place. I love my property, and so just whatever. Just have to be patient. Just see what happens. Deb Andrews, it's comforting to see good people making comments that shows the normal folks are still strong. I appreciate your channel so much. Thank you, Deb. Janet Manning, what are we talking about? We were talking about the Olympics and the blackout and the rain. You had those horrible, awful, terrible opening ceremonies that mock Christ, and then that happened as there was heavy rain in Paris, and then right now there's a blackout. I think they're starting to get the power back on. Just right before I jumped on here, that's what I saw. But it's just an interesting thing to happen. regardless of the cause, regardless of sabotage or some other thing. It's interesting that it happened. All right, I'm skipping down because I need to catch up with the chat. Joe Pro, haha, Joey Bribin doesn't listen to God. The Howling Yorkie, Toronto Temple is closed for renovations. Feels so odd not to be able to go. If you have a temple within an hour drive, you're blessed. It takes me over 2 hours to get to the Toronto Temple. Yeah, I'm in the same situation. It takes us 2.5 hours to get to the Oklahoma City Temple. But once the Wichita Temple is constructed, then that's going to be within an hour. It'll be about an hour, maybe a tiny bit over, maybe like an hour and 5 minutes. C.S. Luau, the snakes are eating each other now. Marie Wood, I'm from Bakersfield, Terry Hall on out in Rosedale, and on out to Enos Lane, and now I'm in Mobile, Alabama. Cool. Yvette Ward, greetings from Scotland. It's 2:15 a.m. I always appreciate your posts. Thank you for all you do and for staying focused on where we are in the big picture. Can't wait to see the Edinburgh Temple open. Yeah, that's exciting. I feel like that's a big deal, having a temple in Scotland. Scotland, I think, is a special place. I think all the UK is special. There's a lot that our church leaders have said about the UK, and how there's like a lot of Israelite blood there. Just a couple of years ago, it was President M. Russell Ballard and elders Holland and Cook. All three of them went to the UK, and I listened to some of their talks, and President Holland said that there's a lot of the blood of Israel to be gleaned, like still to be gleaned in the British Isles. And of course, a lot of the early saints came from the UK. So I feel like that temple is going to probably have like a special design. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a two-spired temple. I did a recent video about two-spired temples, how they seem to be built wherever there's like a special location to the church. Those are just my feelings on it. Okay, I'm going to catch up with the chat. C.S. Luau, have not heard a word about the blackout, but I've been doing other stuff today. I already heard about the fires and people trying to set the railway on fire before the Olympics. Yeah, just do a quick search, or just go on X if you have an X account. Follow me on X if you aren't. I've reposted the post that I've seen so far. The Howling Yorkie, can you comment on life difference in an LDS community versus life in the mission field? Like, what do you mean exactly? Do you mean like life in like a big LDS community like Salt Lake or Mesa, Arizona, or anywhere in Idaho or Utah compared to other places, or I don't know. I think that's probably what you mean, because the mission, I mean, there's mission fields throughout the entire world, including Utah and Idaho, but if you mean like the difference between Kansas and Utah, it's just, I don't know, not as many members of the church, but like when you go to church, it still feels like church, like anywhere that you go. We drive 45 minutes to get to church, and that's not too big of a deal because I like to drive, and it's a good time for me and my family to talk, and it's fine. I don't know. I guess there's less people for my daughters to date that are LDS, but there's like stake activities and stuff, and yeah, I don't know what else to say unless you have any other specific questions. Okay, Caitlin with Anticipating Christ's Return says, also, I know I sent you this today, but how cool is it that the church is now officially recognized in Azerbaijan? Yay. Yeah, that's actually a big deal. And yeah, I saw that message, Caitlin. And I'm probably going to do a video about it because it's not very often that the church, enters a new country. And that's something that I'm keeping track of, actually. I have a spreadsheet where I have the most recent before Azerbaijan was the Gambia in Africa, which is a very tiny little country its borders are essentially go around this river. It's like a very tiny country. But that was the most recent one until now. So I wonder if it's been dedicated yet for missionary work, or if that's going. Okay, it's just recognized. I wonder if there's going to be missionary work there. I'm going to have to look at those articles. Okay, Dr. Caring, mom and dad both dying of terminal cancer. Used to think they would pass before Christ's return, but not so sure anymore. Thanks for the great community and the wonderful videos. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, and I don't want to give any sort of false hope. I do feel like the second coming is sooner than later. I highly doubt that we would get to the 2034 Olympics before it happens, or even the next couple of years. I really feel like there's something to President Nelson's age, and I feel like it has to do with the age of being changed in the twinkling of an eye. The new type of death, like the type of death where you're not laid down in the grave. You go from mortality directly into immortality. I feel like President Nelson's going to be one of the first ones, if not the first one. Okay. Pascal Dupont says, was John Taylor ever quoted as saying that there was no more blood of Israel in France after his mission? I don't know. I'd be interested to see that, if he said that. EC says, good to see you. It's good to see you too, EC. Janet Manning says, I just want you to know, anticipation Christ's return. I love your videos. Yeah, everyone make sure to subscribe, please, to Anticipating Christ's Return. Her channel is growing really fast, and it's because she has good content. She has really good videos. So subscribe to her right now. It's Anticipating Christ's Return. You can find her on the homepage of my channel under featured channels. Pascal Dupont says, looks like you and David Alexander are kindred spirits, both in a van. Okay, I'm going to catch up with the chat. Okay. The Lamb is the light. Hello from North Carolina. Hello. Judy Harvey, please pray for my sleep. Bless the chat. All right, everyone pray that Judy can sleep. And also pray for, I already forgot the name, the person who had the, Dr. Caring. Dr. Caring's parents who have terminal cancer. C.S. Luau, Bacchus is the Greek god of wine, feasting, and celebrations. Ah, yeah, there you go. That's what I was trying to remember. So that that blue guy, the naked blue guy, I guess he was supposed to be Bacchus, the Greek god of wine, feasting, and celebrations, which is awful because he was on the table, of that mockery of the Last Supper. So where the sacrament was instituted, he was on there as though he and the food that was with him were the mockery of the Last Supper and the institution of the sacrament. Anticipating Christ's return. Thanks, Janet, and thank you, Jared. Hearts, smiley face with hearts all over it. Tony, rude boy, and gluttony. Yeah. The Lamb is the light. Are you saying Paris is in the dark now? Yeah. Before I came on, there was a blackout, and I saw one report saying that they're starting to get the power back on, but Paris experienced some kind of blackout. And from what I read, it's like most of Paris experienced it. Karate videos and more. The Savior spent 2 days with Lehi's descendants in prayer and the sacrament, which purified them. Let's see, Judy Harvey, bless you. Sharon Wood, I'm curious what will happen to the temples after the millennium when all the temple work is complete. I don't know. That's a good question. I wonder if they're going to last into eternity because the world is going to be celestialized. So will they stand for eternity? Will they be repurposed? Bruce R. McConkie talks about the fact that there's more doctrine out there that we have no idea about. We'll probably learn a lot of things in the millennium as well as in eternity. As far as like ordinances for exaltation, there isn't any more of that. We have everything that's necessary for exaltation. But okay, my kids are back. They were shopping, so I need to wrap this up. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your Saturday and have a good Sabbath tomorrow. Let's just keep watching this crazy world as it spirals out of control and as we get closer to the second coming. And I'll talk to you guys later.